Hello, this is to Hythloday. I want to reiterate my disappointment in you. And we at the very beginning of our conversation, we specified that there would be going back and forth, that each of us could initiate questions, series of questions. And you resisted this, and I can only assume it's because you know that whoever sets the questions and frames the series of questions involved in a discussion, controls the discussion to a certain degree, promotes certain outcomes, restricts other outcomes. And we both evidently realize that that's the case. The person that puts the questions on the table is is controlling the overall conversation. But the difference comes in that my answer to this realization is that we would share, 50-50, the time of initiating questions. And we discussed that at the beginning, and you agreed. But then when we started and I let you have the first question, you didn't seem to think that there was an end to your series of questions. There was no time. You never, in the whole 3 hours or whatever it was until you left, let me ask the question. So in the first hour where it's supposed to be back and forth between you and me, you never let me have a question. Even when there was 15 minutes left in the hour and you had been controlling it the whole time, you refused and act like I was being ignoring your. Are you just going to totally ignore what I said? It's like it's my turn to ask a question, but you wouldn't have it. Then after an hour, other people came into the conversation. The conversation itself healed, but never your partaking of it. Even hours later, when I tried to ask one of my questions, you wouldn't have it. You wouldn't be put on the spot. And I have made these points that I wanted to ask you about in our series of videos, and I just thought that you were not perceiving them. That they just weren't coming through. That in the whole thing of answering a 10-minute video with lots of points, that you were rattling down and finding these ones and never answering my questions. But now I know from a face-to-face experience that it's much more conscious than that. That you think you should control the conversation, and you get nowhere doing that. We got nowhere. That first hour was an embarrassment. Most of the time was arguing about why I shouldn't get a say, why I wouldn't get an initial question. So it changes the whole light shining on your side of this conversation, right? It changes it uh, dramatically. Okay. Why do you want to just keep in generalities and you insist on acknowledgments of your generalities? You get them and then you continue to insist on them. You seem unable to look at the specifics and go through the specifics and see, well, what specifically is the dispute about? What specifically is the comment about? What specifically are the characteristics of my proposed idea compared to the system that you are advocating? Which parts of the system are you advocating, since you're basically advocating our current system with adjustments? Which parts? And I wanted to drill down to that. And it's not just that you're incapable of doing it, it's that you are consciously doing everything you can to avoid doing that. But the main thing is that since you have no interest in a fair conversation where I also get to initiate the queries, then what possible good is for me is a conversation with you? You even said it in the opening, that your hope that you felt you somehow had to vindicate yourself for this or that or the other. You feel insulted, and this kind of reaction, that kind of reaction. You don't even notice you're calling other people plenty names. You think because you do it without cursing, if you call somebody naive or insult them these ways, or make statements, you're going to say who I'm associated with, what all of the ideas. You're just going to state all that out there. You don't have to defend it, because defending it would be going into specifics. And you think if you don't cuss because you were raised not to cuss, or you decided yourself that you wouldn't cuss, or whatever it is, that means that you're not insulting, that you haven't brought any sort of insult to the table. I think you're just caught up in in a little nest of petty emotions. You are scared to the point of overreaction, that you might be pinned down. Uh, I am not. I accepted your questions. I answered them. I think that they were pointless. I wish they had pinned me down more. I wish they got more to the meat of the matter instead of just, could you say that again? And then I'll say what I've said again. And by the way, we're not going to do it 1 point at a time. We're going to do it 15 points at a time. I mean, look, Hythloday, you're on Stickum. If you're going to make a 5 or 10 minute comment every time, it might as well just be a series of videos. That's not any more of a back and forth than we accomplished with the videos, is it? 10 minutes of back and forth. So I'm really disappointed in you and your interest in getting to the bottom of this. I think if you're just here to try to score some points and vindicate yourself, that's sort of pointless. It's much more useful to try to dig down into the subject matter, into the details, and find out where we actually agree, where we disagree. Though now I'm less interested. Okay, I'm not here just to be a platform for you to try to run off in whatever direction you want. You know, if you're going to have a conversation with me, but you don't see why that means you have to let me also initiate the questions and the inquiries so that we both do it, then I'm left what? To just be a facility of some sort for you? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you understand this idea well, and I don't think you want to. I don't I don't know if you're capable of doing it, because the fact that you don't want to hides your capabilities behind that fear or simply a lack of desire to engage in a conversation that is even-handed and fair. Um, Perhaps your lack of interest in being fair in discussion affects your political opinions as well. I wouldn't be surprised.